What are your thoughts on Thomas Massie in the context of the Israel anti-Semitism stuff? Because a lot of the criticisms I see sometimes are valid. Like when I don't really pay much attention to him because my politics don't align with his in almost every way. But I have a lot of close friends who are involved in Israel advocacy, anti-Semitism, opposition, things like that, who despise him. And when I go onto his social media, quite often I just see this kind of almost pathetic bitchiness where he's just obsessed about AIPAC. Every one of his enemies is AIPAC funded, blah, blah, blah. And so that's kind of the impression I get of him, is just like kind of just whining about something that may or may not be the case. But I'd love to hear your opinion as someone who is perhaps motivated more by some of his views.
It's distressing. I mean, I really am a big Thomas Massie fan. I still am. And obviously, because I don't live and breathe the Israel issue, it's not my top number one issue. It's not like the most urgency that he's warring with AIPAC. But I think that it's become a series of tit for tat escalations on their sides. I mean, it makes perfect sense why Massie is attacking AIPAC, because they've attacked him, and they're working to elect someone other than him. He has to fight them. It's not. There's no question about it. But how he fights them, I guess, really is the question. And I actually don't care for some of the rhetoric that I'm hearing from him in regards to how he's attacking Trump for wanting to import Argentine beef. Some of the stuff that I've heard from Thomas Massie in recent years has been a little more protectionist than really I'm comfortable with. I consider myself to be a MAGA supporter. I'm wearing the MAGA hat right now, but I don't agree with everything of the MAGA agenda. And I believe in the idea of the liberalization of trade, especially with our allies, people like Argentina and others. If that benefits us and benefits them at the same time, that's a win-win. But I think that it's unfortunate that libertarians don't see how important a role they could play in the Trump administration. I think that the fact that, libertarians were angry that Trump did not appoint a libertarian to his cabinet, but I don't think that is Trump's fault, because I don't think that there's anyone credible enough who could pass a Senate hearing. If you said that you thought 9/11 was an inside job or that there were dancing Israelis, you're probably not going to pass a Senate hearing review. And
at least for a few years
until the Democrats are back in charge again, and then but then we won't be able to appoint anyone. So no, I think that, again, intransigence, and then also just a lack of understanding for how the game works. I mean, when I was a Ron Paul kid in 2008, I had no idea how primaries or caucuses worked to elect a president. And we got squashed in 2008. We blamed it on the establishment. We blamed it on the regime. But it was really that we just didn't display the kind of competence or excellence that's required to advance in American politics. It's not just about votes. It's about a person's ties to their community and what they have to offer their community, not just what they can get from the federal government in terms of pork belly spending and earmarks and bring that home, but also are libertarians embedded in the community? Are they really speaking to the issues that their voters care about? And how can those coincide with libertarian views? I don't know. Now, Massie seems to have pulled it off. Of course, he came to power during the Tea Party years. So did he and Rand Paul, and we'd lost Justin Amash, who had come in with the Tea Party tidal wave. We had three, maybe you could have said five. Mike Lee and Ted Cruz were libertarian adjacent, while not identifying as such. Ted Cruz making a lot more sense these days to me, from what I'm hearing, surprisingly enough. But I think they say that because of his Zionism is due to his religion, and that's probably partially true. My belief in the defense of the Jewish state morally comes from a national defense perspective of the United States and of one of shared common Western values. But in regards to where the Thomas Massie thing is going, it was sort of inevitable that it would come to this, because the crowds are responding positively and they're giving him a lot of money. There's a lot of money to be made in hating AIPAC. Shockingly, despite what all the anti-Semitic and Jew hating and AIPAC hating people all say, there's not a lot of money or fame or support in supporting Jews. You would think that if they controlled Hollywood, if they controlled the media, if they controlled the legacy media, that they would be taking me and running me out there on CNN all day, every day to say these things, or Fox or whatever. There really isn't, actually. The tides are turning. I think that actually probably it's more dangerous to be a Jew now than it has been at any point since World War II. And I think October 7th proved that. And I think that the fact that 1 billion Muslims or 2 billion Muslims in the world exist and are now online, just the sheer numerical superiority. Bodies are policy. For the number of people in your nation will affect the outcome of political confrontations and conflicts. There's one of the reasons.
Just look at the UK.
One of the reasons, exactly. One of the reasons why China is so powerful is not because of their economy or advanced technology; those are part of it, but it's because they have the sheer numbers. And so, if there are 2 billion Muslims in this world, and they are committed to a fight against, how many Jews are there, Ian?
Not many, like 16, 17 million, I think, last time I looked.
Versus 2 billion Muslims.
Yeah.
Deep shit. It's not a good time to be a Jewish person. And I feel for the Jewish people, and I feel for them. I have Jewish family members, which, if anything, probably, is another reason for me to put another spike on my shield and to sharpen my sword and to keep speaking out as the way that I am in defense of them. But it is a defense of Western values, Western civilization. I think that, unfortunately, there's nothing really that can be done with Thomas Massie simply because they are committed to a struggle against him, and he's going to use every trick to stay alive. And he should. He shouldn't have to surrender his voice or what he believes or stand down just because he's being bullied by an institution that I think has its flaws. I'm not an AIPAC fan. And I'm not a big fan of any lobby group for the most part, but to the extent that they are American citizens, they have free speech too, and Citizens United, codified that in the law. But Ian, I think it's a dark time, and that's why I'm saying these things and having these conversations. Because my hope is that if we turtle up now, if we shield up now and start to put on the armor of God, if you will, then we sharpen our swords of righteousness. Then I think that there are many battles that their tides have turned at the last moment. Because a keen, irate minority were not content to sit back.